There comes a moment in every life when a single idea, clearly seen and faithfully acted upon, becomes the turning point between limitation and abundance. Wealth does not arrive by accident, nor is it reserved for a favored few born into privilege. It flows along definite channels, responding to understanding, alignment, and right use of ability. Many people struggle not because they lack effort, but because their effort is scattered across too many directions, divided by doubt, and guided by habits that were never designed to produce prosperity. Yet there is a simpler law at work. Concentrated power creates results, and mastery multiplies value. One high-income skill is not merely a practical tool, it is a seed. When planted in the fertile soil of belief, discipline, and service, it grows into a living source of supply. A single skill, rightly chosen and consistently developed, carries within it the power to dissolve fear about money, to replace uncertainty with confidence, and to open doors that once seemed firmly closed. The outer world reflects inner clarity, and when the mind commits to excellence in one direction, circumstances rearrange themselves in surprising ways. People often imagine that financial transformation requires many talents, endless credentials, or years of wandering from one attempt to another. In truth, the law of increase works through focus. The mind that tries to master everything masters nothing, but the mind that chooses one channel and honors it daily becomes magnetic. Value attracts reward. When you become highly valuable in one area, compensation follows as naturally as water flows downhill. This is not struggle, it is alignment. A high-income skill is simply a way of solving a problem that many people have, in a manner few people can. It may be expressed through words, strategy, design, teaching, negotiation, or innovation, but its essence is the same: it serves. Service is the invisible currency behind all visible wealth. The more clearly and confidently you serve, the more freely supply moves toward you. Money responds to usefulness, and usefulness expands with mastery. Fear often whispers that it is too late, that others are already ahead, that talent is missing. Such thoughts have no creative power unless accepted. The mind that understands law knows that opportunity is not scarce, it is responsive. As soon as you claim a direction and move toward it with faith and order, the way appears step by step. Each hour of practice refines perception. Each act of courage strengthens capacity. Soon what once felt difficult becomes natural, and what was natural becomes exceptional. To choose one high-income skill is to declare independence from confusion. It is to say that your energy will no longer be divided, your attention no longer borrowed by every passing trend. Instead, you invest your thought, your time, and your belief into one expanding point of power. From that point, confidence grows, income stabilizes, and freedom begins to take form in practical ways. The outer change is simply the echo of an inner decision, faithfully sustained. Focus creates power. Mastering one skill deeply multiplies value far more than spreading yourself thin. There is a subtle but unerring law in the universe that governs every life, every thought, and every action, and it is the law of concentration. To scatter your attention in many directions is to weaken your force. To focus on one point is to multiply it. Too often, people believe that success requires a multitude of skills, that being a jack of all trades will somehow bring fortune. This is an illusion, for the outer world always mirrors the inner mind. When energy is divided, results are diluted. When energy is concentrated, power becomes irresistible. One who knows the value of focus understands that mastery is not born of chance, but of deliberate and faithful practice. To focus on one skill is to direct all thought, all intention, and all action toward a single point of creation. Consider the mind like a lamp. When its light spreads over too wide a surface, it barely illuminates anything. When its beam is concentrated on one corner, that corner becomes radiant. In life, this principle works identically. The person who chooses one path and walks it with purpose soon becomes magnetic to opportunity. The universe responds to clarity, and clarity comes from focused thought. Each moment spent learning, refining, and practicing one skill strengthens the mind, enlarges perception, and draws the invisible forces of supply into alignment with effort. Many people labor without seeing results because they fail to choose a single point of power. They study many things superficially, hoping that scattered knowledge will bring success. Yet knowledge alone is powerless without direction. It is the law of concentration that multiplies skill into mastery, and mastery into wealth. The world is full of people who are busy but not productive, active but not influential, clever but not valuable. Their efforts are like water poured on sand. It seeps away without creating any lasting effect. But the individual who commits to one skill, invests daily in its refinement, and refuses to be distracted, discovers that power grows quietly, steadily, and irresistibly. Focus does not merely create skill, it shapes character. The discipline required to dedicate oneself to one pursuit strengthens willpower, sharpens decision-making, and develops patience. Every challenge encountered becomes a lesson, every obstacle an opportunity to refine technique, and every success a confirmation that the law is true. In this way, focus becomes more than a practical tool. It becomes a spiritual alignment, an inner harmony that reflects itself in the outer life. The universe responds to persistence, to clarity, and to the unwavering decision to become excellent at one thing. It is important to understand that one skill, once mastered, multiplies influence far beyond its immediate application. The person who has chosen a high-income skill becomes a point of attraction, a center of opportunity. People are drawn to competence, and money flows naturally toward those who can produce results that others cannot. When skill is deep, value is obvious. It is no longer necessary to chase fortune, for fortune seeks the one who stands prepared. Focus transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary, the common into the remarkable, because the mind that concentrates cannot help but refine, perfect, and innovate. Many fear choosing one skill because it seems limiting. They imagine that by focusing on one thing, other opportunities will be lost. Yet the law of concentration proves otherwise. As soon as one skill is mastered, doors begin to open that could never have been seen before. The universe always rewards depth over breadth, and mastery attracts variety naturally. A focused mind creates a reputation of excellence, and excellence is the key that unlocks multiple channels of abundance. To be scattered is to be unnoticed. To be focused is to become indispensable. The process of concentration requires more than desire. It requires faith and consistency. The individual who commits to one high-income skill must act daily, refine continuously, and maintain belief even in the absence of immediate reward. Each hour of focused practice adds weight to the skill, builds confidence, and trains perception to see opportunities that others miss. Focus transforms time into a powerful ally rather than a fleeting resource. The mind aligned with one pursuit becomes a magnet for ideas, guidance, and inspiration. Small actions, repeated consistently, compound into results that seem sudden but are in truth inevitable. Distraction is the greatest thief of power, and it comes in many forms: temptation, comparison, doubt, and the lure of new trends. The person who yields to distraction weakens energy and delays results. The law of focus, however, is simple and unyielding. Where attention flows, energy follows, and where energy flows, resume. LTS appear. Mastery begins with a choice, a deliberate decision to give one skill the undivided attention of mind, heart, and body. Once this choice is made, the path becomes clearer. Each step forward strengthens belief, and belief strengthens action. The outer world bends toward the person who holds the light steadily in one direction. Focus also brings clarity of purpose. When attention is not scattered, the mind begins to see patterns, recognize opportunities, and anticipate challenges. Decision-making becomes intuitive, actions more decisive, and energy more efficient. The person who has mastered one skill is no longer at the mercy of circumstances. Circumstances, rather, are rearranged to meet the prepared mind. This is the magic of concentration. It channels natural forces to work in harmony with human effort, creating results that are not forced but effortless, and yet powerful beyond measure. To live by focus is to live in alignment with a higher law, a law that governs success, abundance, and personal power. One skill, once mastered, becomes a source of influence, income, and inner confidence. The scattered life produces confusion and limitation, but the focused life produces clarity, momentum, and opportunity. Each hour dedicated to refinement, each challenge met with persistence, each small improvement compounded over time multiplies impact exponentially. The law of focus rewards the faithful, the patient, and the unwavering. True focus transforms not only financial life, but also inner life. It quiets doubt, sharpens perception, and strengthens faith. The mind that is trained to concentrate on one pursuit becomes a creative magnet, attracting ideas, partners, resources, and fortune. Wealth is not merely the result of knowledge, nor of effort, but of power directed with precision. One high-income skill, cultivated with dedication and focus, becomes a lever by which life itself is moved, reshaping circumstances, creating freedom, and opening avenues that once seemed closed. Focus is therefore the secret weapon of those who rise above the ordinary. It is the force that turns potential into mastery, effort into influence, and knowledge into wealth. To scatter is human, to concentrate is divine. The individual who understands this principle, who dedicates self to one pursuit, and who persists faithfully in daily refinement, finds that the universe conspires in support. Small, deliberate, and focused actions yield results that appear miraculous only to the untrained eye. The power lies not in many pursuits, but in one mastered with heart, mind, and spirit aligned. Service equals wealth. High-income skills thrive when they solve real problems for real people. There is a timeless principle that governs all true prosperity, a principle as certain as the rising sun, and it is this: wealth is the natural result of service. The individual who focuses solely on self, who seeks reward without giving value, walks a path of frustration and limitation. But the one who turns attention outward, seeking ways to meet the needs of others, discovers that supply flows freely, without struggle. Money is not an enemy, nor is it a mystery. It is an effect of usefulness, of contribution, of service rendered with clarity and confidence. Those who wish to attract abundance must first ask, "How can I serve?" and allow the answer to shape thought, word, and action. High-income skills are not valuable because they are clever or complex, but because they solve problems that others cannot solve easily. They are instruments of service, channels through which talent meets need. Each skill has the potential to create relief, convenience, insight, or opportunity in the life of another. The individual who understands this principle does not work for money. They work for the joy of giving solution, for the delight of producing results, and for the certainty that supply must follow value. The universe never fails to reward usefulness, for usefulness is the invisible currency behind all visible wealth. Many people pursue skills with the wrong motivation. They seek status, recognition, or immediate compensation, hoping that effort alone will produce abundance. Yet the law is simple and immutable. Money is a reward for contribution, not for effort. Effort without usefulness produces struggle. Usefulness without effort produces fulfillment. The secret of high-income skills is that they are bridges between talent and need. When a skill meets a genuine problem, the results are tangible, appreciated, and naturally rewarded. The one who focuses on service first discovers that financial reward flows effortlessly, as water flows downhill to the prepared channel. The mind that understands service as the path to wealth operates differently from the one that chases money. Its thinking is outward, general, eros, and solution-oriented. Opportunities are recognized in the problems of others. Challenges are not obstacles, but invitations to apply skill in ways that create relief and satisfaction. Confidence arises naturally when one is focused on giving value, because the work itself becomes a source of joy and fulfillment. There is no competition against fortune, for fortune always seeks the one who produces tangible, meaningful results for others. High-income skills flourish in the environment of demand. The individual who observes the needs, desires, and struggles of others can identify where skill is most valuable. By aligning talent with these needs, one not only becomes indispensable, but also attracts opportunity consistently. The world is full of problems, and each problem presents a doorway through which skill can enter and create transformation. Money is merely the reflection of this transformation, the visible echo of invisible usefulness. The greater the value delivered, the larger the reward, and the more naturally supply moves toward the prepared mind. Service also builds reputation and trust, which are the unseen assets of wealth. People naturally gravitate toward competence and reliability. A skill that consistently solves a problem builds confidence not only in the individual but also in the community served. This trust compounds over time, creating networks of opportunity, collaboration, and influence. One who focuses on service first finds that doors open ifafo. Artlessly, connections are strengthened, and recognition flows as a natural outcome. The mind that aligns with usefulness becomes magnetic to fortune, and each act of service strengthens the channel through which abundance travels. Fear and doubt often obscure the path to service-based wealth. Many hesitate to offer their skill because they feel unworthy, inexperienced, or uncertain of response. Yet the law is clear: genuine service, offered with integrity and persistence, always attracts reward. Small acts repeated faithfully accumulate power, experience, and confidence. Each problem solved, no matter how minor it seems, adds to the reservoir of influence and skill. The individual who perseveres understands that service is a spiritual principle as much as a practical one, and that the mind which gives freely always receives freely. It is not enough to possess a skill, it must be applied with clarity and awareness of need. One may be talented, intelligent, and capable, yet without recognition of what others require, skill remains dormant. Observation, empathy, and responsiveness are essential. The person who sees the pain, desire, or challenge of another and applies skill to alleviate it becomes a channel of abundance. The universe recognizes this alignment and moves to supply the resources necessary for continued service. Prosperity follows naturally because the work serves a higher purpose, a purpose that reaches beyond the individual and touches lives. High-income skill. LS thrive in an environment of focus, preparation, and generosity. The individual who cultivates skill not for selfish gain, but for meaningful contribution, experiences growth not only in income, but also in character. Confidence, insight, and resilience are byproducts of consistent service. Each problem encountered becomes a learning opportunity, each solution delivered reinforces ability, and each grateful response strengthens faith in the law. Supply is never lacking for the one whose focus is outward, for service creates alignment with universal flow, making abundance inevitable. The mind oriented toward service sees opportunities everywhere. A conversation becomes a source of insight, a challenge becomes a chance to demonstrate value, and every interaction is a potential channel for transformation. High-income skills, when applied in this way, do not require relentless marketing, coercion, or manipulation, for the value itself attracts notice. People are drawn to those who solve real problems with competence and integrity. The financial reward is the natural consequence of usefulness. It is not forced, it is received as the echo of effort aligned with law. Service also multiplies personal growth. Each active application deepens skill, hones perception, and expands understanding. Challenges that arise in serving others strengthen problem-solving, patience, and creativity. The individual who commits to helping consistently discovers that solutions appear more readily. Intuition sharpens, and influence increases. Wealth, in this context, is both the outer manifestation of contribution and the inner reflection of alignment with law. One becomes wealthy in resources, in reputation, and in personal capacity. High-income skills, therefore, must be cultivated with the awareness that their highest purpose is service. Money is not the goal. It is the natural reward for contribution, the visible sign that usefulness has been recognized. The individual who approaches skill in this way is never anxious about supply, for the law guarantees that when value is given, supply moves naturally to meet it. Each hour spent refining skill, each action taken to address genuine need, and each thought focused on usefulness, increases both influence and income. The more meaningful the problem solved, the greater the reward, and the greater the inner satisfaction. Fear, doubt, and distraction have no power over the mind aligned with service. The law is simple and eternal: give first, and the universe responds. Concentrated effort in the direction of usefulness multiplies skill, reputation, and income. The person who sees the world as a collection of opportunities to serve becomes a magnet for fortune. Each problem addressed, each solution offered, and each benefit delivered compounds influence, and abundance flows naturally to the prepared individual. The skill that solves a problem becomes a lever of prosperity, and mastery of that skill ensures continued alignment. With universal supply. The principle of service as the path to wealth transforms not only financial life, but also character, perception, and faith. the individual who commits to solving problems consistently experiences flow, confidence, and clarity. Skill applied in the service of others opens doors, strengthens influence, and builds lasting networks of opportunity. The universe conspires in favor of usefulness, and each act of meaningful contribution accelerates growth, attracts recognition, and multiplies compensation. The law is precise, dependable, and generous, rewarding those who understand that high-income skills are most powerful when offered as instruments of service, rather than selfish gain. Clarity over confusion. Choosing a single direction eliminates doubt and opens doors naturally. There is a natural order in life, a law that governs thought, action, and result. And it is the law of clarity. The mind that is clouded with doubt, indecision, and scattered attention invites confusion, delay, and struggle. Yet the individual who chooses one clear direction, one focused path, and one definite purpose aligns with the flow of universal law and finds that doors open effortlessly, opportunities appear, and guidance becomes unmistakable. Confusion is the result of divided attention. Clarity is the result of a determined choice. To understand this principle is to claim power over circumstance and to step into a life of natural abundance and ease. Clarity is more than knowing what you want. It is knowing what you will commit to and what you will refuse. It is the deliberate decision to follow one path with confidence, rather than drifting from one idea to another in search of answers. Many people fail to achieve financial success, mastery, or influence because they are pulled in too many directions. They attempt to learn multiple skills, explore numerous opportunities, and satisfy competing desires, only to find that energy is wasted, focus is lost, and results are minimal. The law is unyielding. Divided attention produces diluted results, while concentrated focus produces momentum, progress, and visible reward. When clarity is chosen, the mind becomes a powerful magnet for opportunity. The universe recognizes decisiveness and aligns circumstances accordingly. Doors that once seemed closed swing open with ease, and guidance appears in subtle, unmistakable ways. Clarity sharpens perception, enabling the individual to recognize the right steps, the right people, and the right moments. Where confusion brings hesitation, missteps, and frustration, clarity brings confidence, direction, and effortless action. The power of clear choice cannot be overestimated, for it transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results. Many people underestimate the impact of clarity because they focus only on the physical action, forgetting that thought precedes manifestation. The mind is the invisible architect of all visible success. When thought is confused, scattered, or uncertain, the outer world reflects the same turbulence. The person who has chosen one clear direction creates mental space, alignment, and receptivity. Each decision becomes guided by purpose, each action reinforced by focus, and each opportunity recognized as it appears. The clarity of intention becomes a beacon, drawing circumstances, people, and resources toward the prepared mind. Choosing a single direction eliminates doubt, the silent thief of progress. Doubt whispers that you are not capable, that you are too late, or that others are already ahead. When the mind is uncertain, it invites delay and distraction. But clarity silences doubt by defining a path, establishing purpose, and creating confidence. The individual who has committed to a direction no longer wavers, hesitates, or compares self to others. Instead, energy is invested in action, growth, and refinement. The law responds to this steadiness, bringing results that appear naturally and effortlessly, as though the universe conspires to reward decisiveness. Clarity also allows the mind to simplify complexity. Life presents many choices, many opportunities, and many challenges, but when a single direction is chosen, priorities become obvious. The mind no longer expends energy on irrelevant pursuits or fleeting trends. Decisions are made with ease, actions are purposeful, and progress is measurable. The individual who has clarity is not overwhelmed by options, for each step forward is guided by the unwavering principle of focus. This is the secret to efficiency, effectiveness, and the rapid accumulation of skill, wealth, and influence. Fear often clouds clarity, causing hesitation and indecision. Many hesitate to commit to a single path because they imagine limitations or feel uncertain of outcomes. Yet the law is precise. The moment one chooses a clear direction, the universe responds with guidance, opportunities, and alignment. The path may not be without effort, but it is simplified by the removal of distraction, the elimination of competing impulses, and the sharpening of focus. Fear is neutralized by faith, and doubt is replaced by a quiet certainty that each step forward is supported by law. Clarity magnifies effectiveness. The person who acts with a single purpose finds that each effort compounds, each step builds upon the previous, and each decision reinforces skill and influence. Energy directed along one path gains momentum and power. The scattered mind expends effort in many directions, accomplishing little, while the focused mind achieves more in a fraction of the time. This principle applies equally to wealth, skill, relationships, and personal growth. Where there is clarity, the mind, body, and spirit move in harmony with universal law, producing results that appear almost effortless but are the result of precise alignment. Choosing one direction also strengthens faith in the unseen. When the mind is focused, the individual begins to notice coincidences, and opportunities that previously went unnoticed. Intuition becomes sharpened, guidance becomes apparent, and confidence grows. Each choice, made with clarity, reinforces the law, confirming that success is not random but the natural outcome of alignment. The outer world reflects the inner certainty, showing doors, connections, and resources that were invisible to the scattered mind. Clarity is a filter that removes the unnecessary and highlights the essential. The individual who knows where they are going no longer wastes energy on distraction, doubt, or trivial pursuits. Each moment becomes valuable, each action purposeful, and each decision guided by principle. The mind that is clear about its direction becomes a magnet for resources, allies, and insight. Opportunities appear with regularity because the universe always favors those who act decisively, consistently, and with focused intention. Confusion, on the other hand, invites delay, stress, and inefficiency. The scattered mind sees opportunities but cannot recognize the right one. It takes action but lacks follow-through. It desires abundance but cannot attract it because attention is divided. Clarity removes this obstacle by defining what is essential, establishing a path, and committing to a principle. The individual who has chosen a direction moves steadily, confidently, and effectively toward results, and the universe conspires to support that steady motion. The clarity that leads to success is cultivated through deliberate decision-making, reflection, and disciplined focus. It is strengthened each day by choosing one high-income skill, one area of mastery, or one field of service and committing wholeheartedly to it. Small, consistent steps in a chosen direction multiply over time, creating momentum that carries the individual forward. Each challenge encountered becomes an opportunity to refine understanding, sharpen skill, and strengthen resolve. Clarity allows obstacles to be seen as temporary and surmountable, rather than permanent and limiting. The mind aligned with clarity becomes a point of attraction for opportunity. People, circumstances, and resources are drawn to those who act decisively, pursue a defined path, and demonstrate unwavering commitment. The scattered mind attracts uncertainty, delay, and struggle, but the clear mind attracts guidance, support, and reward. Choosing one direction does not limit opportunity, it focuses it. Each step taken along the chosen path is reinforced by law, creating a chain reaction of success that expands naturally into multiple areas. Clarity strengthens confidence. Each action, thought, and decision guided by a single purpose builds trust in one's ability and alignment with law. The individual becomes free from hesitation, doubt, and comparison, focusing instead on growth, skill, and contribution. Momentum builds as each step reinforces the power of deliberate focus. The universe supports clarity because it reflects the inner order of the mind. Abundance, opportunity, and influence follow naturally, without forcing or striving, simply as a consequence of inner alignment. The law of clarity over confusion teaches that simplicity is power. The fewer the competing priorities, the stronger the focus, the clearer the mind, and the greater the results. By choosing one direction, committing fully, and acting consistently, the individual transforms potential into accomplishment, effort into mastery, and intention into visible reward. Each moment of focus adds weight to the path, each decision reinforces momentum, and each action manifests the power of clarity in tangible, measurable ways. Practice builds magnetism. Consistent effort turns skill into expertise, and expertise attracts compensation. There is a subtle but irresistible law in the universe that governs mastery, influence, and abundance. And it is the law of consistent practice. Talent alone is rarely sufficient to produce wealth, recognition, or opportunity. Intelligence, creativity, and natural ability may open doors, but it is practice that transforms possibility into power, effort into excellence, and skill into magnetism. The individual who devotes time, energy, and attention to persistent practice discovers that the skill becomes not only a tool but a source of attraction, and that the mastery attained draws opportunity, compensation, and influence naturally. Practice is the bridge between desire and realization. Many people dream of success but fail to act or act inconsistently, hoping for rapid results without the necessary investment of time. Yet the law is precise. Consistent effort, repeated faithfully, produces results that are exponential rather than linear. Each repetition strengthens neural pathways, refines technique, and enhances perception. Small actions, sustained daily, compound into extraordinary ability. The one who practices diligently may at first feel that progress is slow, but each day of attention, correction, and refinement builds the invisible power that will eventually manifest in the outer world. The mind that embraces practice understands that skill is not static. It grows, expands, and evolves with application. Mastery is achieved not by occasional bursts of effort, but by consistent, deliberate action over time. Each session of practice builds confidence, deepens understanding, and strengthens intuition. The individual who persists in practicing a high-income skill becomes magnetic because the energy of focused effort resonates in the world. People are drawn to competence, reliability, and excellence, and these qualities are the natural products of persistent practice. Consistency transforms mere ability into expertise. The difference between a novice and a master is not always talent, but devotion. The individual who applies effort day after day, who repeats, corrects, and improves, moves steadily toward proficiency. Expertise is recognized not only by the person themselves but by others, and it creates trust, reputation, and credibility. The universe responds to this steady alignment. Opportunities appear, resources are provided, and compensation follows naturally. Practice is the invisible engine behind visible success, the force that turns potential into results. Many fear practice because it requires patience, humility, and persistence. They imagine that talent alone should suffice, that skill should appear effortlessly, or that recognition should arrive quickly. Yet the law is certain. Effort aligned with purpose produces power. The individual who understands this embraces each opportunity to practice, sees each repetition as a step toward mastery, and recognizes that even small improvements compound into extraordinary ability. Nothing is wasted in the process, for every act of practice contributes to the magnetic force of skill. Practice also develops resilience. Each challenge, mistake, or difficulty encountered while refining skill becomes a teacher, guiding the individual toward greater competence and insight. The person who persists through difficulty gains not only technical ability, but also confidence, patience, and adaptability. Mistakes are transformed into lessons, obstacles into stepping stones, and each hurdle overcome reinforces belief in law, in self, and in the power of persistent effort. This resilience becomes part of the magnetism, attracting opportunities and recognition that are drawn to steadiness and reliability. The law of magnetism states that energy follows energy. The individual who radiates skill, confidence, and dedication draws attention, collaboration, and reward. Practice strengthens this radiance, for it creates visible competence and invisible alignment with universal law. Expertise cannot be ignored. It commands attention, invites respect, and opens doors. Those who are consistent in practice become indispensable, recognized, and rewarded not because they demand compensation, but because their value is evident and irresistible. Practice transforms not only skill but character. Dedication, patience, persistence, and attention to detail are cultivated through repeated effort. The individual who engages faithfully in practice develops inner strength, clarity, and discipline, which are themselves forms of magnetism. People are naturally drawn to those who demonstrate competence, consistency, and reliability, and these qualities emerge only through sustained practice. The invisible power created through refinement manifests in both opportunity and abundance. Each act of practice reinforces confidence. The more skilled the individual becomes, the more easily they can tackle challenges, innovate solutions, and provide value. Confidence multiplies the effectiveness of action, strengthens perception, and enhances the ability to influence circumstances. People are naturally drawn to confidence backed by skill, and compensation follows naturally, as the universe mirrors the value delivered. Practice creates this chain reaction, converting effort into expertise, and expertise into magnetism. High-income skills thrive on repetition, refinement, and application. Each challenge, task, or project is an opportunity to practice, improve, and demonstrate competence. The individual who approaches each situation as a chance to refine skill experiences continuous growth, strengthening both ability and reputation. This consistent application of energy attracts recognition, opportunity, and compensation, for the law always rewards the faithful use of talent. Mastery is cumulative, and each act of practice adds to the invisible reservoir of skill and influence. The power of practice is amplified by focus. The individual who concentrates on one high-income skill, dedicates consistent time, and applies deliberate attention discovers that results compound rapidly. The law of concentration magnifies the effect of practice, for energy aligned with a single purpose becomes irresistible. Momentum builds as skill increases, opportunities multiply, and the individual becomes a point of attraction for fortune. Expertise radiates power, and the universe provides compensation in proportion to value created. Practice also aligns the mind with intuition. The more skill is applied, the more subtle insights, creative solutions, and opportunities appear. The individual becomes attuned to the needs of others, aware of timing, and confident in action. Each repetition of skill deepens perception, allowing the practitioner to anticipate challenges, identify solutions, and deliver exceptional value. This alignment enhances magnetism, for people, circumstances, and resources are drawn to competence and reliability. The individual who embraces practice understands that mastery is a journey, not a destination. There is no final point at which effort can cease, for skill grows infinitely with attention, refinement, and application. Each day of practice adds power to ability, influence to presence, and attraction to opportunity. The universe responds to this faithful alignment, bringing rewards, recognition, and compensation that reflect the value produced. Practice is both the foundation and the catalyst of lasting abundance, for it creates the invisible forces that draw visible results. Practice eliminates fear. The individual who has prepared, honed, and refined skill acts with confidence, clarity, and courage. The uncertainty that plagues the unprepared is replaced by faith in law, in ability, and in the natural attraction of results. Each completed task, each improved ability, each demonstration of competence reinforces belief, strengthens magnetism, and expands opportunity. Consistent effort transforms anxiety into confidence, hesitation into decisiveness, and potential into visible success. The law of practice rewards persistence, focus, and faith. Small, deliberate, and repeated actions accumulate power, influence, and recognition. Skill becomes expertise. Expertise becomes magnetism, and magnetism attracts compensation naturally. The individual who commits to regular, intentional practice is positioned for exponential growth, for the power created within is reflected in the outer world. Each hour invested compounds into results, each repetition strengthens reputation, and each improvement enhances opportunity. Practice is the silent but unyielding force behind wealth, influence, and abundance. Inner alignment reflects outer abundance. Confidence, faith, and order in your mind manifest financial results. There is a law in the universe as constant and unchanging as the rising sun, and it is the law of alignment. The inner state of mind shapes the outer circumstances of life with perfect accuracy. Thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes form the blueprint through which results are manifested. Confidence, faith, and mental order are not merely qualities of character. They are active forces that shape experience, attract opportunity, and produce abundance. The individual who cultivates inner harmony finds that the world responds accordingly, circumstances rearrange themselves, and financial results appear as a natural expression of internal alignment. The mind is a creative instrument, a powerful magnet that draws to itself all conditions, relationships, and opportunities that correspond to its inner state. When thought is divided, filled with doubt, fear, or disorder, the outer world mirrors that chaos. Opportunities appear sporadically, obstacles seem persistent, and supply feels insufficient. Yet when the mind is clear, disciplined, and confident, the law of attraction functions effortlessly. Each thought of faith, each mental image of abundance, each ordered plan acts as a channel through which the forces of the universe flow. Outer wealth is but the visible reflection of inner alignment. Confidence is the foundation of alignment. It is a quiet knowing that one possesses the ability, creativity, and resourcefulness to produce results. Confidence is not arrogance, nor is it dependency on circumstance. It is trust in the law and trust in self. The individual who approaches skill, action, and opportunity with confidence radiates power, and others are drawn to this force. Business, negotiations, projects, and collaborations respond to the energy of assurance. Opportunities do not need to be forced, they seek the confident mind, for confidence indicates readiness to receive, act, and expand. Faith multiplies the effect of confidence. Faith is the understanding that the universe is abundant, that opportunity is limitless, and that supply always matches demand when aligned with value. Faith does not waver in the presence of difficulty. It remains steady when results are delayed, challenges arise, or the path seems unclear. The individual who cultivates faith does not chase money, recognition, or success. They focus on skill, service, and clarity, knowing that the law will respond faithfully to their alignment. Faith strengthens persistence, sustains effort, and opens the mind to the guidance and inspiration necessary to create wealth. Order in the mind is equally essential. A scattered, cluttered, or anxious mind produces scattered results. Thoughts, plans, and priorities that are unaligned generate confusion, indecision, and delay. Order brings efficiency, clarity, and consistency. It allows the individual to identify what is essential, to prioritize action, and to maintain focus on high-income skills and valuable pursuits. Mental order is the unseen framework upon which wealth and influence are built. When the mind is organized, purpose is clear, and actions are directed, outer abundance flows as naturally as water fills a prepared channel. The combination of confidence, faith, and order creates a powerful magnetic force. This force draws resources, opportunities, and circumstances toward the individual without struggle or coercion. The person aligned internally is recognized externally as capable, trustworthy, and prepared. Others are naturally attracted to work with, invest in, or support those whose inner state is harmonious, for alignment radiates a sense of stability and reliability. In this way, inner mental work directly produces visible financial results. Many people attempt to achieve wealth by external measures alone. They chase opportunities, acquire skills superficially, or work long hours without consideration for inner alignment. This is an attempt to force results from a mind that is unprepared. The law of manifestation cannot be bypassed. Outer abundance is always preceded by inner preparation. Confidence, faith, and order in the mind create the conditions necessary for consistent, effective, and visible results. Without these qualities, effort may be exerted, but results are uncertain, slow, and often disappointing. Inner alignment also determines decision-making. The individual whose mind is clear, confident, and faithful perceives opportunities that others overlook. Choices are made with clarity, without hesitation, and with discernment. Risk is evaluated rationally, creativity is expressed freely, and action is decisive. This mental precision multiplies success, because opportunity responds not to effort alone, but to preparedness, perception, and alignment. The outer world mirrors the internal mind, and financial results are a direct reflection of the strength, focus, and harmony of thought. Disorder, fear, or indecision in the mind acts as a barrier to wealth. Thoughts of scarcity, doubt, or lack attract corresponding circumstances. The universe is impartial and exact. It delivers results that match inner conditions. To cultivate inner alignment, one must actively direct thought toward confidence, maintain faith in the abundance of life, and establish order in priorities, plans, and mental focus. Each day of deliberate alignment strengthens the invisible channel through which prosperity flows, ensuring that outer results are consistent, reliable, and expanding. Practice of visualization and affirmation supports this alignment. Imagining oneself competent, prosperous, and effective programs the mind to act accordingly. Thoughts become patterns of action, decisions become guided by principle, and results reflect the expectation of success. Inner mental discipline enhances the effect of skill and effort, for the universe always mirrors the vibrational state of the mind. The person who cultivates inner alignment combines thought, belief, and action into a harmonious force that produces abundance naturally and predictably. Consistency in alignment is essential. Confidence must be nurtured daily, faith strengthened in moments of challenge, and mental order maintained amid distractions. Each act of alignment, however small, compounds over time, producing clarity, stability, and power. The universe responds to this consistency, moving circumstances, resources, and people to support the aligned individual. Outer abundance is therefore not a product of luck, circumstance, or external pressure. It is the inevitable result of inner discipline, belief, and harmony. Inner alignment also enhances creativity and problem solving. A mind that is confident, faithful, and orderly perceives solution. As where others see obstacles, identifies opportunity where others see limitation, and takes action where others hesitate. This creative advantage directly translates into financial results, as the individual is able to provide greater value, produce better outcomes, and attract resources more effectively. Alignment multiplies skill, amplifies effort, and ensures that compensation flows in proportion to value delivered. The state of the mind influences every interaction. Clients, partners, and colleagues respond to the confidence, clarity, and faith of the aligned individual. Trust is inspired, collaboration is encouraged, and influence is magnified. The outer world cannot help but mirror the inner state. The individual who maintains internal alignment experiences ease in negotiation, decision-making, and opportunity recognition. Supply is drawn to preparedness, and the universe arranges circumstances to support those whose inner condition is harmonious, confident, and faithful. The law of alignment emphasizes that visible success is a reflection, not a cause. One does not achieve financial abundance and then cultivate confidence, faith, and order. Rather, these qualities must precede manifestation. The mind must first be prepared, beliefs aligned with universal law, and priorities organized. When this inner condition exists, outer results follow naturally. Money, opportunities, partnerships, and influence are drawn irresistibly to the individual whose inner state is coherent, strong, and harmonious. Every moment of focus on inner alignment strengthens the magnetism of success. Confidence reinforces action, faith sustains persistence, and mental order directs effort efficiently. Together, these qualities create a powerful resonance with universal law, ensuring that high-income skills, diligent practice, and service to others are rewarded with visible results. The individual who commits to inner preparation experiences a steady, predictable, and expanding flow of abundance, as outer circumstances faithfully reflect the harmony cultivated within. Inner alignment also brings peace of mind, which enhances productivity and clarity. Anxiety, doubt, and distraction dissipate when thought, belief, and intention are unified. Decisions become easier, effort becomes more effective, and action is guided by principle rather than fear. This internal harmony produces a visible effect in financial results, reputation, and influence, demonstrating the principle that the outer world is a reflection of the inner mind. The individual who practices inner alignment understands that wealth is not a goal to be chased but a natural consequence of confidence, faith, and order. Supply moves to meet value, opportunities arise for those prepared, and results manifest effortlessly when the mind is harmonized with universal law. By cultivating a consistent state of inner alignment, the individual ensures that all outer efforts, skill, practice, focus, and service, are amplified, multiplied, and rewarded, producing abundance that is sustainable, expanding, and aligned with purpose.